Hello, Sarah of SEK Handmade here, and I am super excited to be talking to you about WIP Wrap Up. We are wrapping up, wrapping things up. So I just wanted to start off with a thank you. You guys, it has been such a fun month, and January has flown by. I can't believe it's already February. And a huge part of the reason that January flew by so wonderfully and cheerfully for me, I'm in northeastern Wisconsin, and this can be kind of a dreary and miserable time of year. We are at -8, feels like -24 right now. And in January, we had lots of cloudy days. Thankfully, when it gets this cold, it's usually at least sunny, which it is nice and sunny out today. But January can be a kind of sad time. The holidays have all wrapped up. You're like drained emotionally and physically from all of the stress of the holidays and wrapping up the year and all of that stuff. And so, man, WIP Wrap Up just really made my January joyful. It was really, really lovely. So if you don't know what WIP Wrap Up is, let me tell you a little bit about it. This is simply a community event. It has nothing to do with purchasing things or working on any sort of specific project. It is all about community, encouragement, and finishing up those projects that you have been putting off. So a huge part of it is just accountability. You have joined in and said, one of my goals in January is to wrap up those WIPs that I've pushed aside and said I would get back to, but never really got back to because I got distracted by newer, flashier, fun things, which we all do, totally understandable. But WIP Wrap Up is a time to come together with a community of other makers who know exactly what that is like because they also have done those things and to commit to just wrapping up some of those WIPs. So the general outline of the event was that we gathered our WIPs, dug into all the places. I confess, I pulled out all of my WIPs. I made a little silly video of me putting on all of my WIPs. And then I thought, oh, I know that there's one more. I wonder where it is. And I found it. And hiding along with it were like 3 other WIPs. So, so we gather our WIPs, we assess our WIPs. I think this is a really important part of WIP Wrap Up because let's be honest, if you've put it away for more than a year, the likelihood that you really love it enough to finish it up is pretty slim. So then we talk about frogging our WIPs. In the end, I frogged 3 WIPs. I was going to frog 2. Like I did that immediately. I had an old design that I had not worked on in years. And it was like, it's good, but I don't even really like this yarn anymore. So it got frogged. The yarn got donated. I frogged a knitted cowl that I had started that I really liked, but I was kind of like at a place where I don't even know where I'm at with it. And so it was even if I did the same project, it was gonna have to be started over. And this is the yarn. Oh, it's so pretty. I couldn't get rid of it, obviously. I mean, this is my color palette. But I frogged it back. And then when I was in the depths of January and not feeling the motivation to continue on with my WIPs, I looked at this and I thought, what will this become? And I decided I'm going to make a knitted brioche hat out of this and this and this amazing navy pom-pom. I'm so excited. And I just found out on Wednesday that a friend at my local yarn shop, we're going to make it together. It's going to be so much fun. So that motivated me to just like keep moving forward as well as the community members. So we we frogged the WIPs that we we weren't going to finish up. We talked about Phoenix projects, which is what this hat will be. The yarn that had been used someplace else will be reclaimed and brought back to life. Brought back to life in a new project. So that's always very exciting. And then we just dove in and we picked our WIPs and we got going. There were lots and lots of WIPs that just needed finishing details. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I always drag my feet on finishing details. So I totally understand this. Ends that needed to be woven in, blocking that needed to be done, buttons that needed to be sewn on, amigurumi pieces that just needed to be sewn together. And so it was really fun to see people say, I've had this for a year. I've had this for 2 years. I literally had the whole amigurumi done. It just needed to be sewn together. And now I did it. So it was so rewarding to see people do that. And I really feel like just the community aspect and the sense of accomplishment of like, yes, finally check that off my list was motivation enough. But also I had a couple little prizes in the back of my head, and I had some wonderful people who have donated prizes. One of the wonderful ladies who participated in WIP Wrap Up reached out to me, and she said, I've just gone through my stash. I have some yarn that is wonderful and lovely, but I'm not going to use. I'm ready to move it on to a new home. Would you like that for giveaways? And I was like, that's amazing. Thank you. My wonderful friend Bonnie of Woodland Stitchcraft has gorgeous stickers. So she's giving some stickers away to people. And then she's going to start making the most amazing maker themed notepads, like tearaway notepads, and notebooks, like spiral notebooks to like take all your notes in and stuff. They're amazing. And she offered those up. And then my friend Ashley, I had a vision. And my friend Ashley of Triple Knots Crochet used her Cricut to help me make some fun little project bags. So wonderful prizes. The general idea of the prizes were you needed to finish a WIP, and each finished WIP was a entry, like a ticket, a raffle ticket in the prize. So I am not going to announce winners on here. I feel like there are, unfortunately, some predatory ickiness where people are contacting people that they see who have won things and being like, oh, all we need is your credit card, which no. Don't ever give someone your credit card, please. But just to allow the winners to have some anonymity, I'm going to I personally will be contacting those people who are winners. And I won't ask for credit cards, just where you need me to send your prizes. So I'll be doing that later. But I wanted to share with you, you blew me away. I wanted to share with you the statistics of yesterday was the last day to turn in your official WIPs. You don't need to stop though. You can keep going. And so I wanted to share with you the official numbers. So something new. So the community aspect was run in 2 places. I have Make Along Facebook group, and then I started a chat on Instagram for those who don't do Facebook as much. And so this was the first year for the Instagram chat, and we had over 36 people join the Instagram chat. It was so much fun. The ladies were so supportive of each other. I didn't even have to like run things really. They were all so great with, if somebody had a question, they jumped in and helped each other out. It was really just such a lovely community. I hope that if you were part of that you go and follow those people and keep track of them and continue the friendships that we started there. It was really so lovely. People who turned in official finished objects, there were 38 people who finished projects, which is awesome. And then this blew my mind. I officially recorded 191 WIPs that are now finished objects. I can hardly even believe it. That is amazing. And I finished more this month than I would have without it as well. I mean, some things I have deadlines for and like you got to get them done, but there are some things that I just like made for myself, and I definitely would have put off blocking and weaving in ends if it hadn't been for WIP Wrap Up. So you all helped me finish some things up too, which was just so wonderful. So thank you to everyone who participated. I'm going to share with you the WIPs that I wrapped up. I already told you I decided to frog 3 of my WIPs. Oh gosh. I can't even tell you how many WIPs I still have. I have started and finished. But I want to show you the things that I did finish this month. I finished 6 WIPs. And granted, those were in all a whole host of stages. So let's start with my one that was most finished. This is my second Kellen scarf, which was the Tunisian mystery make-along that we did in October. So I finished this guy in October, but I didn't finish him. I just kept hemming and hawing over what I was going to do to like finish him. He was made into a cowl. I made him, or an infinity scarf. I made it into an infinity scarf. My other one was just a a traditional scarf shape. And so I did this one in an infinity scarf, and I was going to zhuzh it. I was going to add some big fat tassels, and I just kept putting it off. And so like a week ago, I was just like, you know what, Sarah, you have literally been putting this off for months. Just be done. Just be done. You had a good time with it. It's gorgeous. It doesn't need other things. Just be done with it. And so I snipped all my ends. I made sure that it was all good to go as far as that went. And I wore it this morning to take my boys to school because it's super, super chilly here. So that was one of my WIPs that I finished up. It was not my first one. You would think it would be because it was almost there. So that's one of my WIPs that I wrapped up. My next WIP that I wrapped up was this guy. Another, this is my Avene scarf that I released earlier this month. I had this done, except for weaving in my ends and blocking it. I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And I'll be real honest with you, I probably would have released this without the ends woven in. Just would have like strategically tucked them in. But because of WIP Wrap Up, it's completely done. 100%. I've worn it about 1 million times since I released it. So I'm glad that that's completely done, because I would not have been as likely to wear it if it wasn't all done. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm just remembering. I actually had one more WIP. I may go grab it just a second. WIPs that were started and finished within the time frame were welcome, and this was one of those for me. This hat seems simple, and it is, but I am so excited about this hat, and let me tell you why. This is a hat full of memories, and that's one of the things that I love about yarn craft. So this yarn was a yarn that I bought when I was on a trip with my husband, our only international trip we've ever taken. We never took a honeymoon. It was a work trip for him, so I don't think we can count it as that, but bought this yarn in Germany when we were on a business trip to Luxembourg. And so I have memories of our trip in the yarn. But then I used it to teach a friend how to knit a hat. She had taught herself how to knit. And she was like, I really want to do hats, but it seems so complicated. And I was like, oh, it's not. It's not complicated. I'll teach you how. And so she and I got together one weekend and I taught her how to make hats. And so now it has both the memories of my trip with my husband and teaching my friend how to knit hats. And so I love it so much. Also, the hot pink pom-pom doesn't hurt. And when I go pick the kids up from school, I'm very easy to find. So that was a fun WIP. That was finished fast. So that was a really good time. Then on the same trip to visit my friend, I decided I was working on a couple designs that were on the more complicated side. And I was like, you know what? I just want a project that I just don't really have to think about. And so I was like, I'm going to rework an old pattern. And guys, I enjoyed it so much. I have not made something that wasn't one of my designs. I'm not sure I did that at all last year. And just being able to just open up the pattern and do what it says. It took like almost no time to make. And I'm so thrilled. I used 2 wonderful yarns from this, one from my generous and lovely friend, Michelle. And so I will always have memories of her wrapped up in this shawlette. This is the Braids and Baubles shawlette. So I'll always have memories of her in this, and my friend Ashley, who was with me the weekend I started it. I love it. I love it. So I'm not going to go get it because I'm just going to bonk the table. But I had if you follow me on Instagram, I shared in my stories one day that I was going to get my boys from school and I picked up my Waylon hat. See, this is just proof that if it hadn't been for the WIP Wrap Up, I would have just published the Avene scarf and never woven in my ends. I picked up my Waylon hat, which I published in October, and went to put it on. All the ends. Not a single one woven in. It's a 2-color hat, so it had like 10 ends. And because of WIP Wrap Up, I was like, now's the time, Sarah. Do it. And so I did. I picked it up. I wove in the ends. It is all completely done. I feel so good about that. And so I actually had 7, because then I decided I enjoyed redoing my Braids and Baubles shawlette so much that I thought I'm gonna do some other things. I'm gonna remake some patterns in some really beautiful yarn. And so I started talking with some crocheters at my local yarn shop, and several of them were saying, what is up with crocheted hats? I cannot get them to fit my head. What is going on? And I thought, you know what? That would be a great class, because crocheted hats they're different. They're different from knit hats, and they're different from store-bought hats. And so what a great opportunity to learn about them and to make a really good fitting hat, which this time of year in Wisconsin, you need a well-fitting hat. And so I redid my Astoria hat. This was one of my very first patterns that I published. This is my original sample. But I redid it in some really gorgeous Malabrigo yarn. I'm adding it has 3 variations right now. It has this big fluffy brim. It has an option to do a bow, has an option to do it brimless, and then I'm going to add a ribbed brim option as well. That version, unfortunately, happens, not unfortunately, but it's at the yarn shop where I teach. Oh, yay, signed up for the hat class. Yay, I'm so excited. But I'm making another brimless one because I just couldn't not, right? Look at that yarn. Isn't it amazing? So I'm super excited about that. So that was my other finished up WIP. And this one will be done soon because this is a quick little hat to work up. So I'm so excited about that. So, all right. Last thing, I won't keep you for too long here. I have no idea how long I've been talking. Maybe I've already kept you a long time. But I wanted to use this opportunity to announce that we will be doing WIP Wrap Up again. And not again next year, but when I very first hosted WIP Wrap Up, everybody had a great time, which was so much fun and just lovely. But people hands down said, I need this more than once a year. It's so easy to accumulate. It's so much harder to finish those things up. So I am thrilled to share that we will be doing WIP Wrap Up again in June. I thought that that was a great time of year to do WIP Wrap Up again. School is just finishing up, so you've probably put lots of stuff on the back burner if you're a teacher or you have kids in school. Like, that's a really hectic time. June is a great time, like, that you maybe have your kids home now, and so like really focusing on a project is harder, but weaving in the ends, like, that's easy to do. Doing a little blocking while they're playing, that's good to do. Finishing the last few rows, sewing on buttons or whatever. And then it's about halfway through the year, but also July is, like, I think, the best time to organize yourself for holiday making. So we're going to wrap stuff up in June so that you can organize yourself and get ready to do holiday making, or at least organizing maybe your holiday making in July. So that is my plan. I cannot wait. If you want to use this as an excuse to just like put some stuff away for now, that's totally cool. We will do this again in June. I highly recommend that you join my email list, and here's why. Social media and all the other things, man, it's like you don't always see the things. I have people that I like come across that I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen their stuff in months. So if you're just relying on social media to catch this, you might miss it. But if you join my email list, I will send reminders that we're starting up again and all of those things. So if you're watching on Instagram, there's a link in my bio to join my email list. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I will put a link in the little description so that you can join that email list, because, man, if you didn't join us, I'm sorry to say, you really missed out. It was a great group, a great community, and so, so much fun. So thank you again for everything. You guys were wonderful, and happy crafting.